Hi there, welcome to That Board Game Show. My name is James Wood.
And I'm Sonja, I'm James's mother. And what I wanted to share with everybody at the beginning of a new year, and just having come out the whole festive season, I wanted to just talk about our experience of the festive season. One, being so thankful and grateful that we could actually have family around and things could be just a little back to normal, if that's possible. But, last year, 2022, Christmas and New Year and all that time.
Oops. This is James dropping in from the edit room. It was actually 2021, not 2022.
We had a lot of family members with COVID, and this year we didn't. And so we all got together, and it was just a very joyous time. And I'm very, very grateful for that. But I wanted to share specifically, with this being a TBGS podcast, I wanted to share with everybody about something that was very precious to me during the time. Our son, James, who you know from this podcast, and our son-in-law, Bruce, who you don't really know, they got around the table and played a cooperative board game. And it was so wonderful. Just the two of them just played this cooperative board game. And what I noticed with that is they had such a focus, and like came down and had a meal and let's go back to the board game. And, it was just something so special. I just thought how wonderful that time was spent instead of just the time sort of just going by. And it was nice that we were all sitting around relaxed and chatting and all of that. But the memory, I think, of the two of them being so focused on this cooperative board game, and that it was like a campaign board game. Jamie can tell you more all about it.
That I can. The game Mom is talking about all this time is called Mechs vs. Minions, a cooperative tabletop campaign game for 2 to 4 players. Set in the world of Runeterra, which is the universe in which League of Legends, the video game, takes place. The players take control of 4 intrepid Yordles, Corki, Tristana, Heimerdinger, and Ziggs, who must join forces and pilot their newly crafted mechs against an army of marauding minions. With modular boards, programmatic command lines, and a story-driven campaign, each mission will be unique, putting your teamwork, programming, and piloting skills to the test. In each round, the players are going to simultaneously draft from a selection of cards, and they're going to program the cards that they draw into their command lines, their player boards in front of them. And then, in turn order, you're going to execute each player's command line, and all kinds of chaos and shenanigans can ensue as people realize, oh no, I programmed the wrong card into the wrong slot at the wrong time, and now instead of rushing down the field and taking out all the minions, I turned around and ran into the wall. So that kind of thing is happening all the time, and there's this sense of chaotic energy and fun throughout the whole gaming experience.
You know what I've just thought of? I'm going to come back and tell you how we got this board game, because I love telling the stories of how we actually got specific board games, because they always seem amazing to me. But just to finish with the story of Bruce and James and how they had this time together, whereby they had this focus. As I was saying, it was a campaign, I think that's what you call it, where they were going from one level to the next on, in this board game. And I was very blessed by that. So I wanted to share it with you. But let me tell you about how we got the game. The game I'm talking about is called Mechs vs. Minions. Now, we had some people come up and play board games with us. They were a board game group. And they came, when I say came up, we live in South Africa and on a nature reserve. So it's very lovely when people can come and play games, and we get to enjoy the nature and also have some time around the table. And this particular time, this young man arrives and he takes out of the car this gigantic box. It was like really impressive just to see such a massive box. And I thought, whoa, what is in that box? He puts it on the table and he opens it. Well, it just got more and more and more impressive. It was fairly mind-blowing for me to see this game. It was so beautiful, and all these components and how well thought out it all was, and even how it had been packed in the package, the box inlays and all that. Anyway, then we got to actually play the game, because sometimes something can look really lovely, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be your kind of game. But we got to play this game, and that was even improved upon the experience of looking at the game. And then the blow came when this guy said to us, "You're not going to be able to get this game. It's no longer available." And I thought, oh no, here I'm now absolutely enamored with this game, so utterly impressed with it, and we can't actually get it to add it to our game library to be able to play it. But anyway, then what happened, now remember, we live in South Africa, okay, and a couple of weeks go by, and one of the guys that was at the board game weekend, his name is Han, he gets hold of us and he says he's got a friend that's going, a colleague, I think it was, that was going to the States. And they were going to be able to maybe bring something back for us South Africans if there was something we wanted. And we thought, oh, well, yeah, of course we want Mechs versus Minions, because we know we can get it from there, but we know we can't get it in South Africa. But, that's just way too big an ask to ask for such a huge and heavy box for somebody to bring it back in their suitcase. It's just too much. So we kind of tongue-in-cheek make a joke, say to Han, yeah, well, you know what we want? We would like Mechs versus Minions. And he says, well, there's no harm in trying. He'll ask, and see what happens. Well, he asked, and his colleague said, okay, well, we must order it, go through the process of ordering it in the States and getting it delivered to where she was staying in the States, the place where she was at. And then when she came back to South Africa, she'd bring it. Well, I could hardly believe it. How's it even possible? What a huge, 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 wonderful thing for somebody to do for us. So anyway, that all happened and the game arrived. And now this is what's so incredible, is that within 1 month, that is unknown to us here in South Africa. We have to wait very many months, if not even years, before we actually can have a game that we've, seen and that we'd like. That's a bit exaggerated, because in fact, there's a board game distributor in South Africa, online board game, and we can purchase games and get them, within reasonable time. But I'm talking about games if we wanted them to come across the ocean or through the sky, whichever way, air freight or ocean freight. It's a very, very, very long, slow process and exceptionally expensive. So if you take the price of a board game, we can easily just always and instantly double it. That's if it's going to be $100, the game, well, then it'll be $200 for us to have it if we're getting it from the States or Europe or anywhere else. It's just instantly doubled because of the cost of shipping for us. So now, how's about this? We not only are getting Mechs versus Minions being brought to us from America, but there's no shipping cost. How does it get any better? And we get it within a month. And this is how it gets better, even better and better, is then comes the festive season and Bruce and Jamie sit down and go through the campaigns of Mechs versus Minions and just thoroughly enjoy the entire process. So there you go. There's my story of how we got Mechs versus Minions, and there's my story as to why I think it is incredible. This podcast is all about us just sharing about what's happening in our world when it comes to board games. And that is what's happening in our world at this time, at this beginning of a new year and the end of an old, and so on and so forth. So there's my little story. I'm looking forward to telling you the next one, because the next one's all about First Martians, because that's where we are now. We're in First Martians land. We're busy doing those campaigns. But anyway, over to you, Jamie, because I am going to do what's always very important, and that is go put the kettle on so I can make us some tea. Okay, bye.
Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show.